Station right now and just let the race come to them. No sense in burning up the tyres at this stage of the race. Still 18 laps to go.
Yeah, Alex Rins was the fastest man once again on that last lap. He's running the soft front and the medium rear tyre. Expect him to come good in the end of the race. A little bit wide there for Joan Mir as he comes under pressure from an air Bastianini. But yeah, we're in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment. Bastianini really pushing the front into turn 9 there as he looks to get on terms with the 2020 world champion. Fabio Quartararo is still in 9th place. He's the sole real contender for Yamaha. Frankie Morbidelli didn't get a good start at all. He's down outside the points in 16th.
Yeah, a bit of a horror show as well on the open night here for Jack Miller. It hasn't gone his way at all. Excellent qualifying last night. 4th place. He's been relegated down to 14th. In fact, he's just been passed by both Miguel Oliveira and Marco Bezzecchi. I'm not sure if it was a mistake recently from the Australian, but not going according to plan at all for Jack Miller. It didn't go his way here in the 2 Qatar races. Last year, of course, all the gossip and speculation about his future place in the factory Ducati team with hungry young riders like Martin and Bastianini already making public declarations. We want Miller's ride. Here's a bit of Ducati power, a bit of year-old Ducati power. Trying to blitz past a Suzuki. What? A Ducati can't blitz by Suzuki on the start-finish straight here in Qatar. That just shows you clear evidence there, visually, of how good the Suzuki is this year, engine-wise, aero-wise, and that drive they get off the final corner. You would not have seen that over the last few years of Ducati not able to outdrag a Suzuki down this 1 kilometre start-finish straight.
Brad Binder's gone past Marc Marquez crucially as well. Brad Binder up into 2nd place. That is not what we expected to say. Bastianini's having another look. This time he is going to get it done on Joan Mir, who's eased aside into turn 4. Bastianini on the move. He looked like he was getting a little bit impatient behind Joan Mir. He's now made the move.
Binder up into 2nd place. KTM have never even had a top 6 here in La Salle. It's been a bit of a bogey circuit since they entered the MotoGP World Championship back in 2017. Now, has Marquez gone in hot here on the brakes into the first corner? It looks like he has, yeah, gone in way, way too hot. He was never going to stop that. Thankfully, he didn't lose the front, took the front, just knew that release the brakes, run wide, take your punishment, and then try and recover the lost place. So Binder didn't have to work for that one, but he's up into 2nd and looking strong.
Here's a Bastianini straight on the back of the line as well. He looks like he really wants to get on with this. Jose Bastianini, he's always had that hands late in the Grand Prix, but he seems to be making his move a little bit earlier this evening. Touching on the rookies, we mentioned Marco Bezzecchi, who's ahead of Jack Miller, but a shout out to Darren Binder as well. He's up into 19th position. He is ahead of his teammate and the silent specialist, Andrea Dovizioso, by a couple of places. Binder, both Binders, having a pretty impressive opening night.
Yeah, there are some riders in this field that are having a bit of a humbling start to 2022. Jack Miller mentioned he's just up another place as well. It's attacking Nakagami. Likewise, Frankie Morbidelli on his factory Yamaha start in 2022. He's down in 17th place. He's been pushed out of the point scoring place. They're fully fit Frankie Morbidelli as well now. Now then, Cananea Bastianini needs to category anything about the reps long, but Marc Marquez directly out of it. He's picked up some slipstream. He'll have the inside line and he eases by Marc Marquez on the brakes at the first corner. So Marquez, is he going to pull it a little bit tighter? No, Mia's gone well wide. Likewise, Jorge Martin, that's the slipstream effect. That's just those extra 5, 6, 7 kilometres now you pick up in the slipstream. It just changes your braking marker. You saw it last year. Pecco Bagnaia actually lost the chance of a victory, but he ran it hot at the first corner in the Grand Prix of Qatar last year. So it's an easy mistake to make. Simon, now give some thoughts.
Yeah, just about that braking area when you first saw it with Mark Hill, a couple of others. In recent years with the wings, they held the bike stock as well. When that device clicks back up into place and the wings angle of attack works, they rely on it with their braking marker. But if there's someone in front of them in the braking area, the wings don't work and they can't stop.
Yeah, all that dirty air around the wings. Yeah, good point, Simon. So Palace Bargro, well, it's been plan A on to perfection so far for him. He made a brilliant launch up the line from 6th place on the grid. He's been happy to make the front running here, of course. There's been missed opportunities, as known in the past, and Palace Bargro has been so tantalisingly close to breaking his Premier Class victory duck. I'm sure wherever you are in the world watching from the sofas on the virtual fan wall, you're enjoying this cracking start of the 2022 MotoGP World Championship. Palace Bargro has the advantage from Brad Binder, still there in 2nd place. Bastianini in 3rd, Marquez 4th, then it's Mir. And Maestro trying to get on in this podium battle as well on the factory at Aprilia.
I wonder whether there's a problem for Jack Miller. He's dropped right the way down to last position now. He's 2 seconds even behind Raul Fernandez at the back of the field. There is clearly some sort of issue with the 43 Ducati. And Joan Mir, who expected to go forwards, is going backwards. That's Aleix Espargaro kicking him off.
Yeah, Mir's getting a bit beaten up here, isn't he? Getting a bloody nose. The former world champion. Miller must have some kind of problem. As Lewis said, he's dropped all the way back. There's a yellow flag as well.
Yeah, Marco Bezzecchi's dropping down the field, unfortunately. The rookie who's had such an impressive weekend. Bezzecchi has dropped off the tower on the left-hand side of the screen, so he thinks something may have gone wrong. Mir looking to fight back against Aleix Espargaro. Both Suzuki's really in the middle of the battle. Alex Rins just behind. He's trying to keep Jorge Martin at bay. Jack Miller has entered the pit, and Marco Bezzecchi, unfortunately, has entered the gravel trap.
Oh, Jack Miller doesn't have a lot of luck, does he, here in Qatar? You remember when that seat worked loose a few years ago, and then last year, I remember it in the Omni Grand Prix, he had a mystery vibration on the right-hand side of his tyre. It was almost launching him to the moon through all the right-handers. So Jack Miller's woes in Qatar continue. There's Marco Bezzecchi. Sadly, it's been a real promising MotoGP debut up to that point for Bezzecchi. He slides out at the final corner when he was looking well set for a point-scoring finish. Yellow flags and are still out in all sectors. I'm sure Simon's going to try and find out exactly what happened to Jack Miller. Bad start to the year for the Australian when he needs a good start to the year to ensure that he's putting himself at the forefront of the mind of the Ducati management for that coveted factory seat next year. It's been knees and elbows and hands all going between these two, Mir and Aleix Espargaro. Surprised to see Mir struggling to run the pace at the front at the moment. Will he come on strong in the latter stages?
Absolutely, he's leaving himself a little bit of work to do at the moment. He's only a second off the lead at the moment, although that top four do appear to be getting a little bit of breathing space out on the front, but it just underlines how competitive MotoGP is in 2022. 5 different manufacturers in this 6-rider leading group. Aleix Espargaro leading for Honda ahead of a KTM of Brad Binder, a Ducati of Enea Bastianini, the second Honda of Marc Marquez, with an Aprilia and a Suzuki right on their tails.
Well, in the early stage of this Qatar Grand Prix, I don't think anybody would have thought pre-season that Aleix Espargaro and Brad Binder and Enea Bastianini would be holding the top 3 places, with world champion Fabio Quartararo in 9th and runner-up last year, Pecco Bagnaia in 10th. Still a long way to go. There is confirmation on your screens. Unfortunately, Jack Miller retired. Down and out of the opening Grand Prix. That's a cruel look for Jack Miller, really unfortunate for him. Now we're looking back at Alex Rins, and there's the pole man, Jorge Martin. He's in 8th. Bagnaia actually has just taken that 9th place away from Fabio Quartararo, probably, I'd imagine, using a bit of grunt under the Ducati down that start-finish straight. The chasm between the Ducatis and the fastest motorcycles here and the Yamahas has been pretty embarrassing. Jack Miller storms out the back of the factory Ducati garage. Clearly there's been a problem that is not of his doing, totally out of his hands, not the way he wanted to kick off 2022. Might need to have a bit of a 10-metre exclusion zone around Jack for a few minutes.
Yeah, this isn't the race we were expecting in many ways, with the pace at the front. The pace is getting quicker. Aleix Espargaro now in the mid-154s. The big question is, will that soft rear tyre that Aleix Espargaro is running, as well as his teammate Marc Marquez, will that still give up good grip at the end of the race? Brad Binder perhaps sitting pretty in second place. Not a position he expected to be sitting in this Grand Prix, but he's of course got the medium tyres on. Ryan Liao, necessity really. That's a tyre that KTM kind of have to run in these cool conditions. They can't really run the soft. They just can't get the performance out of it. But Binder running comfortably in second place, Bastianini just on his tail, and the top 4, the only riders able really to run this 154 pace. The likes of Zarco more than any further back in the 54s, but they're way out of contention at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose the big question in terms of victory hopes here, can the likes of Rins, Martin, Quartararo, Bagnaia bridge what at the moment looks like a pretty big gap? Are they just trying to manage their pace and have some good tyre life towards the back end of the race? Alex Rins is detached by about a second behind his teammate Joan Mir. He in turn then to about 4 tenths back to Martin. Started lap number 10 then, and we're starting to get some real hot laps coming in now. The pace is hotting up. Aleix Espargaro set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Right behind him, Binder bettered that, and then Aleix Espargaro, who's always been confident in his race pace on the factory Aprilia. The pace then drops to a 1:54.465. It is the fastest man on the circuit. Yellow flag in sector 1. So who will be lost in the first sector, or should we just run wide going into that first corner?
Let's go down to Simon Craig for bringing you with some news on Jack Miller. Simon.
Yeah, guys, I can't get the official reason for Jack stopping, but I believe I heard him say a cuss word and the word electronics.
That's really cruel for Jack Miller. No wonder there's a cuss word. Alex Marquez, well, Honda have found some front-end confidence for their riders this year. They've certainly made it a more rider-friendly, a bit more margin for error on that RC213D, but sadly that's Alex Marquez's third crash of the weekend. His opening Grand Prix of 2022 comes through a premature ending as well, when he was fighting just outside of the top 10 with Miguel Oliveira.
Cast your minds back to pre-season testing when Reed Samantha earlier this year. We thought, and with good reason, that KTM were in a world of trouble. They seemed in all sorts of problems back in pre-season testing, which just underlines what an incredible performance Brad Binder was putting in here to win in second place. He's losing a little bit of ground on his back to Paul Espargaro, who's been pretty comfortable. He's put a bit of time back in this third sector now on the lap. But KTM seemed in a world of trouble back in pre-season testing. They made a step forward at the Mandalika test, but we never thought that we'd see Brad Binder not just running second, but keeping Paul Espargaro really well and truly within range.
Paul Espargaro right now looks everything the rider that he wasn't last year. It all looks quite easy, it's all smooth, it's all clean. Last year it was like a bucking bronco. I mean, how many times did that motorcycle send him into orbit, send him over the moon? They're all now trying to get the switches on. They switch the mappings to try and maybe preserve a bit more tyre life as we get into the second half of this Grand Prix. Marquez has just fired in his personal best lap of the race, a 1:54.643. That put him about a 10th clear of the three ahead of him. Paul Espargaro, Binder and Enea Bastianini, they all exchanged 54.7. Yellow flags out again in sector 1.
We'll keep an eye on that. Miguel Oliveira looks like he's dropping down the time speeds.
Yeah,
I think it's the KTM, unfortunately, who's gone down. So a bit of a mixed night then for KTM. Here is Miguel Oliveira. Looks like that's on the outside of turn 1.
Well, he was so up and down last year, Miguel Oliveira. He said coming into this 2022 season he had to have a lot less spikes, be more consistent, flat line on his performance. He's down at turn 1, unfortunately. This just continues. It's horrendous run. He scored just 9 points in the last 9 races of last year with 4 DNFs. And unfortunately, he's kicked off the new year in the gravel track as well. Far from the ideal start for Oliveira, kicking him while he's down, of course. His teammate Binder locked in the fight for the victory, still hunting down Paul Espargaro.
Yeah, the Suzukis are starting to go into this. Joan Mir has now joined his leading group in the 154s. He's just about matching his leading group, being headed by Paul Espargaro. We're on board now with Marc Marquez, trailing Enea Bastianini. Marc Marquez, as Matt said a moment ago, setting his personal best lap of the race last time around. It's difficult to know at this stage whether Marc Marquez is just sitting pretty in 4th place. He seemed to want to talk his chances down over the course of the weekend and challenging for the win and for the podium. It's pretty clear at this stage, half distance in his MotoGP race, that Marc Marquez is well and truly in the podium battle. But is he just holding fire low and keeping his powder dry in 4th place, or does he have more to offer?
And what's pretty clear is the improvements that we knew had come from HRC. The powerhouse like Honda were never going to take the last couple of years lying down, were they? There's Nadia Palavini, of course, the boss of the Gresini team, the widow of the late former 125cc world champion Fausto Gresini, fantastically carrying on Fausto's legacy here, forming the MotoGP team. That's Pecco Bagnaia, and who's he taking out? Oh, dearie me, friendly fire. 2 top factory Ducatis out of the opening Grand Prix of the season. We're going to have to look at that one on the replay. They can't believe it. What a disastrous night for the Ducati Lenovo team. Jack Miller already out and bitterly frustrated, angry. And now Pecco Bagnaia, he runs over to console Jorge Martin. That looks like then Bagnaia was the guilty man. He apologises to Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin looks like he takes it on the chin. But what a disaster. Up the inside then comes Bagnaia. He's at the inside line. Front end just tucks right from underneath him. Trailbreak into the first corner. On the outside, poor old Martin hung out to dry. Nowhere to go. He gets clattered. The poleman Martinator out. And Pecco Bagnaia out as well. What drama in the opening Grand Prix.
And what a disastrous opening night for Ducati. Nothing Jorge Martin could do. He was just being overtaken into turn 1 and found himself being scooped up into the gravel trap. Paul Espargaro, look, he's already looking like he's making a bit of a gap out of the front. He's a quarter of a second, 3/4 of a second, should I say, clear out of the front. And Bastianini, who's Ducati's sole hope now in the front of this Grand Prix, looking as if he wants to make a bid immediately to get into second place. You can see that factory Honda of Espargaro going off into the distance.
The highs and lows, the ups and downs of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. Ducati last year finished 2021 jubilant, joyous. They took their first ever podium lockout in Valencia in their Grand Prix history since they arrived back in 2003. It's been a start to 2022 they'll want to forget very, very quickly. No Miller in action, no Bagnaia in action. Jorge Martin, the tall man, wiped out by Pecco Bagnaia. You don't see Pecco Bagnaia make those kind of mistakes. He's going to be gutted. He'll be devastated, not through his own prospects, but the fact that he also wiped out Jorge Martin. Red faces on the red bike so far this weekend. Now they're just still moving. Some of the days under there. That's why the yellow flags are still been out in sector one. Back at the front, Pol Espargaro. This will be a popular win if he hangs on here with 10 laps to go in Qatar. He was really put through the mill last year, battered and bruised so many times. That Honda last year, the really unruly Honda, really did spit him and chew him up last season. But Pol Espargaro looking so good, so strong at the front of this Grand Prix still.
Let's quickly get a tech observation from Simon.
Yes, guys, you know, everybody's been mentioning the last 6 laps, something like that, a sprint to the end, and about tyres, you know, but something nobody has mentioned is fuel. This track, these bikes, you know, the amount of full throttle they use, and the tank size, they can't get the whole way on full power, so the teams have to cut it back at a certain point, and the most popular one last year was they'll give it full power at the beginning until they settle in, you know, to get in your race position. Then switch it down to low power to do the race till they know they've got enough fuel to turn it back up to full power and fight at the end.
Yeah, thanks to that, Simon. You just wonder now whether Bastianini, Marquez, and Lace Espargaro are going to find a way through on Van Binder, because Pol Espargaro at the front of this Grand Prix on this lap alone has taken half a second out of the South African. Pol Espargaro in the groove as he has been right from the get-go in this Grand Prix. Van Binder just struggling a little bit forward grip. We come down the start-finish straight now. There's nothing wrong with the top speed of the KTM. We know that. We saw it in Mugello last year. But Bastianini sweeps on through. Beast mode engaged yet again. He knew he had to make that move. You can see Pol Espargaro just starting for the finish daylight at the front. He runs a little bit wide. He cuts it back, chops Van Binder's nose off as they sweep through the turn 2. But Bastianini gets the job done. He's up in the second. Exactly what he needs to do.
Whoever would have thought on the opening night of the 2022 season that all of Ducati's hopes would be pinned on the shoulders of Enea Bastianini on their 2021 bike with the Gresini team, who of course have gone fully independent once again for this season. Bastianini now has clear tarmac ahead of him. He's got a second of tarmac to try and make up. Can he now close the gap on Pol Espargaro? And crucially, can Marc Marquez quickly make the move? Bastianini wide, he's just going to hold it. Marc Marquez looking to take advantage too, but Bastianini really pushing on now. He knows he needs to close this gap.
Yeah, big moment there on the front end for Enea Bastianini going into turn 6. He's on it a little bit wide, but he's able to keep it sunny side up, thankfully for his sake. Well, this is, of course, the proven Ducati from last year. It was a motorcycle that was the best Ducati I think we've ever seen since they came to the championship back in 2003. There are good data from 2 races here last year, and a bunch of pre-season testing as well. So, Enea Bastianini are still, of course, doing an amazing job. But you can just see perhaps some of those other Ducatis, the GP 22s, they're not quite at the level yet. They'll get there, I'm sure, of what the proven GP21 is. I've got to say, though, Bastianini is still wringing his neck. He's still riding out of his skin. Absolutely awesome job. Can he find a way to get back on par with Pol Espargaro, though, who still leads by about 1.3 seconds as we come into the final sector on this lap 14.
Yeah, much of that lap lead that Bastianini lost, those 3 tenths in that second sector where he ran by in turn 6. He has started to chip away back at it over the course of the rest of the lap. And how big a role is tyre choice going to play as the Gresini team urge their man on? Bastianini across the line, he does close the gap. He was slower on the lap overall, but having dropped the lead to 1.4 seconds in sector 2, he pulled 3 tenths back in the second half of the lap. Pecco Bagnaia, the pre-season title favourite, no points for the factory Ducati team for the only Grand Prix of the season. Here's the look on board with Jorge Martin, and you're about to see Pecco Bagnaia slide into view.
Yeah, this is going to be a peeves Pecco, isn't it? He's going to be really angry with himself first and foremost, but he made the mistake and then wiped out the innocent Jorge Martin. Nothing that Martin could do about that. He's one of the nicest guys in the paddock, Pecco Bagnaia. He's not a dirty rider. He's not a rider that makes those kind of rash mistakes. It can happen though when you're on the limit, when everybody's as fast as what they are in modern day MotoGP. Even the very best can get caught out. Unfortunately, Jorge Martin involved as well. This is going to be an emotional podium potentially for Enea Bastianini. This was Fausto Gresini's dream. He put all the foundations in place to bring back his own team in this MotoGP World Championship. Bastianini said pre-season his dream was to win a Grand Prix in MotoGP to honour Fausto's legacy. He's doing Fausto proud right now, that's for sure.
Just very quickly, Simon, your view on that incident between Bagnaia and Martin?
Yeah, we know what happened, but I think Jorge was rather lucky. He might be sore tomorrow, but if a little bit further into the turtle, if it's Lee on the ground, that bike in the side, that really hurts enough to put you up for a few races.
Yeah, fortunately, all appears to be okay. We'll keep an eye on that in news again on Jorge Martin. We will let you know. And Bastianini then has got into his rhythm. He's starting to close that gap bit by bit now. And he's now starting to pull out a little bit of a lead over Brad Binder. But once again, we have to say, Brad Binder doing a phenomenal job to still be in the podium places at 2 third distance in this Grand Prix is quite exceptional. You rode on board a moment ago with the world champion, Fabio Quartararo. He is pretty much in a lonely 8th place at the moment. He is 7 seconds off the lead and simply unable to match the pace of these guys at the front. But Bastianini is starting to motor. He's starting to move for Repsol Honda. That gap now under a second.
Fabio Quartararo at the moment, the start of his world title defence is a pretty forlorn one, I'm afraid. He's down in 8th place. You can see Alex Rins there, fair distance ahead of him. He's not coming under any pressure from Johan Zarco. Those two, of course, had a historic, memorable French 1-2 in the Grand Prix of Doha last year. That's not going to be history repeating itself. Paul Espargaro trying to create some history. This is 136 MotoGP start. He's never had a single win. There's been close calls, there's been close moments, but he's never going to have a better chance of winning in the Premier Class. He came to this team to do this. He said last year it was a dream come true to ride in these colours. He said you have to win when you ride for Repsol Honda. He's 6.5 laps away from proving so many people wrong. I think there were doubters that didn't think Paul Espargaro had it in him. They didn't think he had this resolve. They didn't think he had this speed. But here he is, putting up a stunning fight here in Qatar. And he's well on course to win the opening Grand Prix of the season.
Yeah, he's just holding that gap on the road on this lap. It started the lap at 0.9 of a second. You can see 0.8 on the left-hand side of your screen. But time will soon run out for Enea Bastianini if he doesn't make serious inroads over the course of this lap. Sector 3 clicks on now. It is 0.8 of a second. So Bastianini is starting to close in. But another rider with good late race pace is Aleix Espargaro. He's hot on the heels and up the inside, is he? No, not quite. But Marc Marquez, but that Aprilia that impressed us through pre-season testing is living up to Millie.
Yeah, Marc Marquez has got big bother here, hasn't he, from Aleix Espargaro. It just looks like at this stage of the Grand Prix, Marc Marquez has not got anything for his teammate Paul Espargaro or Enea Bastianini. He'll still have this eyes on third place, I think. Here comes Aleix Espargaro. There's nothing wrong with the top speed of that factory Aprilia as well. Can we see the Espargaro brothers seem to be fighting together for the podium?
Big line from Enea Bastianini, a quarter of a second quicker as Marc Marquez runs wide. He just about gets it back across to the right-hand side of the track to hold off Aleix Espargaro. But we are potentially looking, it's a bit early to be saying this, of course, but we are potentially looking at an Espargaro family double on the podium. Brad Binder's not going to give that away too easily. He's still holding his own in third place. But Aleix Espargaro is one of the fastest riders on track. He's still in the 154s. But Bastianini is without question the danger man. He's still doing mid-154s on lap 16 of this Grand Prix. 154.5 last time around, a quarter of a second quicker than the leader.
It's only ever happened twice before in Grand Prix history, two brothers sharing a podium. There's been no brothers on the same podium in MotoGP since Nobuatsu and Takuma Ryoki at Imola back in 1997, 25 long years ago. We're about to see that amazing feat here. Marc Marquez looks like he's in a bit of trouble here. Aleix Espargaro looks like at this stage of the race he's got the better pace. We are now into that phase of the Grand Prix where tyre wear is going to be king. Who has kept the best life in that rear tyre in particular? 6 laps to go, 5.5 to go. Binder at the moment looks like he is able to streak away from Marc Marquez. Can he resist? Can he hold Aleix Espargaro at bay and hang on to that 4th spot?
Yeah, this is where the medium rear tyre for Aleix Espargaro is really going to pay him back. Marc Marquez on the softer option. Aleix Espargaro just appears to have more pace and more grip in these closing stages of the race. Likewise up at the front, of course. Both Repsol Hondas waiting for the soft option. Here comes Aleix Espargaro up the inside. And he leaves an elbow on Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez did not expect to clear as we went past it in the first Grand Prix of the season. But Aleix Espargaro with some serious pace up into P4.
You just knew Marc Marquez was not going to give that one up without a fight, and he didn't. But Aleix Espargaro, it was tight, but he made it through. Now then, look at that gap coming down here. And Enea Bastianini, we talked about it so many times last year. He was the master of tyre preservation. How many times did he come from so far back? He's just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 1:54.338. It's very much game on here now in Qatar. Paul Espargaro is quickly being reeled in here by the impressive Italian. A couple of laps ago, his advantage is 1.6 seconds. He's now down to just a couple of tenths. Paul Espargaro trying desperately to cling on here to what will be a famous victory. On course, though, for an emotional win will be Enea Bastianini. He's right now on the rear tyre of the Repsol Honda man.
How much do you want it, Paul? He's going to be desperately searching for grip in these closing 5 laps of the race. And this is a symbol of just how competitive and just how deep the talent pool is in MotoGP. The first Grand Prix of the 2022 season, and we have 2 riders battling it out for their maiden Grand Prix victory in the class.
Yeah, now he's going to try and use a bit of Ducati power, or will he try and attack before turn 16 and then try and fire away from Paul Espargaro? I wonder what's going through the minds right now of the likes of Pecco Bagnaia and Jack Miller. This is the bike they rode so brilliantly well last year. They're both out of this Grand Prix. The bike that they get from last season, not through choice of course, is potentially on course to win the season-opening Grand Prix here in Qatar. They come through the fast right-handers. Paul Espargaro still standing firm. A bit of a twitch there on the front end for Bastianini. This is all about your rear tyre choice now, and it looks like with that medium compound on the rear of that Brazilian Ducati, it's better in the hands of Bastianini. Will he attack at turn 15? No, he's not going to take the big risk. It just looks like now it's a matter of time before he hits the front. Bide his time, be patient. He's got the better speed at this stage of the race than Paul Espargaro. He doesn't need to take big risks. He doesn't need to be rash.
A little bit of a shake from the nose of that on the Paul Espargaro as he came round turn 14. But here as well, the expected move to happen. And Enea Bastianini then pulls out a slipstream straight past Paul Espargaro. Can Paul Espargaro get back past? Does he have any grip on the brakes to get past? No. Bastianini gets his stop to Paul Espargaro. He runs wide into turn 1.
That's game over for Paul Espargaro. He did that in one of the Grand Prix there last year. The clash has been building. Wow. What's going through the thoughts here now of the Gresini team? And of course, the mistake from Paul Espargaro now means that it's Binder and Marc Marquez back on the podium.
Binder's in second. Paul Espargaro's got back on in third. He's just managed to hold up his brother, but yeah, the Binders could seem to be battling it out for the final podium position. The Suzuki challenge just hasn't materialised. Mir and Rins running solidly in the low 155s. They are closing in. Mir's closing in on the back of Marc Marquez, so we could see those two battling for fifth position, but this is the battle for the lead, and Enea Bastianini 4 laps away from history.
Well, Honda said they found some horsepower in the winter. They clearly have. That's all though about the drive as well that you get off that third gear final corner. Paul Espargaro was desperately trying to resist. He just got a bit of slipstream behind Enea Bastianini, a bit of dirty air as well. He runs in hard. That looks like it might be victory hopes over. Still on course for a potential top 3. A great way to start the year for Enea Bastianini. It's in his hands now. What an emotional win this would be. Oh, this team was set up by Fausto Gresini before he tragically lost his life just over 1 year ago to COVID-19. I'm sure Fausto is looking down now and being so proud of what he left behind. His widow down there in pit lane, she can barely watch the action. And Enea Bastianini on course for what would be a truly emotional, remarkable win. What a way to kick off 2022 in MotoGP.
Yeah, what an incredible podium we're potentially staring at. 3 laps to go as they come across the line now. Brad Binder has just kept himself in the fight. He's not faded like we thought he might. With those medium tyres, they're really helping him in the closing stages of this Grand Prix. He leads Paul Espargaro over the line by 0.3 of a second and looks pretty comfortable there in second place. Espargaro, that's Espargaro and Paul, who's soon be looking in his looking over his shoulder for his older brother, Aleix Espargaro. Can Aprilia still find their way onto the podium in this season opener?
I'll be gobsmacked if there's any fingernails left in that Gresini garage right now, because because this is real tense stuff. Big switch again. Look at Spargo. He's got nothing left in that soft rear tyre. He had a twitch going into turn 4, a twitch coming out of it as well. There is Nadia Padovani, the Gresini Racing MotoGP team principal. I'm sure the tears are going to be flowing post-race here for Nea Bastianini. He can hang on. He looks so good. He looks so comfortable. What a star Ducati having to make it here as well. This was a guy that only won 5 races in his Moto3 career. He went on to win the Moto2 World Championship, and a new star is being born and created right here now. What a night as well for Red Bull K-Team Factory Racing, with Brad Binder on course to take a podium. A dream start for new team manager Francesco Guidotti.
Absolutely. This was a circuit that historically has never suited KTM. As mentioned, they've never been in the top 6 here in the MotoGP race. But Brad Binder, a cracking qualifying lap yesterday to put himself on the 3rd row of the grid. A brilliant start to get himself away with that leading group, and he has stuck around throughout the course of this Grand Prix. Paul Spargo just scrabbling the grid, unable to really make a challenge. But this is the rider that they're all trying to catch, and Nea Bastianini continuing to lap pretty solidly in the 155s. Brad Binder was actually quicker than the leader on that last lap, but not enough at the moment to close in that lead. 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, Paul Spargo attacked, didn't he, on that soft rear tyre, trying to make the gap and then hoping he could manage it towards the latter stages of the Grand Prix. It hasn't quite worked out, although at the moment he's hanging on to the podium. He's coming under pressure though from his older brother. Paul Spargo, there's a bit of bragging rights at stake here, as well as 16 points. Brad Binder looks secure in second. This man looks really good. Bastianini 1.2 seconds clear. The race-winning challenge, the podium challenge we thought was going to come from Mir and Rins, it hasn't materialised at all. Likewise, Fabio Quartararo at the moment in 8th place, and he's coming under attack from Johan Zarco behind him. In fact, Zarco on the power Ducati has just set a personal best lap of the race. A 1:54.6, that was 8/10 faster than Fabio Quartararo. So Quartararo actually might lose that 8th spot and drop back down to 9.
Absolutely, chasing it opening night for the reigning world champion. One of the battles I think we will be seeing on this final lap is between the two Espargaro brothers. Here they are, Paul Espargaro running in 3rd position, but Aleix Espargaro is one of the few riders in these closing stages able to still lap in the 154s.
Paul Espargaro has just got nothing left in that soft rear tyre. We just saw him there coming out of turn 6 on the gas. It was like a bucking bronco, bouncing and pumping. He's just now hanging on for dear life, trying to hope that soft rear tyre hangs in there, and he hopes behind him. The tears are already flowing. We can't underestimate just what a special moment this will be in the history of the MotoGP World Championship. Fausto Gresini was one of the most long-serving and loyal members of this MotoGP World Championship. He had teams in Moto3, teams in Moto2, teams in MotoGP. He loved and lived for racing. And there is his wife, Nadia, looking on, and she is about to see Nea Bastianini, a man who, of course, was given his big break in World Championship racing by Fausto Gresini, a man who he had faith in, a man who he believed in, and now that faith and belief is being repaid big time. We're going to choke up here in the commentary box as well here, aren't we, because Nea Bastianini has, just over 5.3 kilometres to go between himself and the most emotional of Grand Prix victories here in Qatar.
Yeah, Brad Binder, to his credit, isn't giving up on this just yet. He was 10 quicker once again on that penultimate lap, but it will only take a mistake now for Nea Bastianini to lose this one. Brad Binder, though, 2nd place incoming for the first Grand Prix of the season for the factory KTM team. What a start for Francesco Guidotti, and that new Honda that we've talked about all winter looks like it might just hang on to a podium. Paul Espargaro's got 0.4 seconds in his pocket over his older brother Aleix, and Marc Marquez still holding firm ahead of Juan Mir. Mir doesn't appear to have enough to close in for 5th position.
You can see there the team views on the left-hand side of your picture. And Nea Bastianini now coming through this 2nd sector. They don't think Brad Binder's going to be close enough to try and deny him this famous victory. It looks like as well Paul Espargaro's going to hang on for 3rd place. Great job by him on the Repsol Honda. It looks like he's gets on that soft tyre, but it's all about one man and one team. And Nea Bastianini on the Gresini Racing Ducati, the year-old GP Ducati 21. He threatened this when he topped the timesheets, he topped the leaderboard in that official testing to point. He said all along, this new bike is capable of winning. I can fight for the championship on this bike. not sure too many people believe him on that Euro motorcycle, but here he goes, on course, well set to win the opening Grand Prix here in Qatar.
Yeah, Binder's closing in on this final lap. He's down to 6/10 of a second that lead, so Binder is just keeping the Gresini team sweating right the way down to the checker flag, but only 2 more corners to go. Enea Bastianini just needs to keep it smooth through turn 15 and only turn 16 to go for a hugely emotional victory and a historic occasion for the Beast.
Wow.
Binder's closing.
Binder is closing, and Enea Bastianini's got to be careful here. They come out of the final corner. Enea Bastianini surely on course for a famous victory. The Beast reigns supreme in the Middle East. What an emotional victory for Enea Bastianini and the Gresini Ducati team. Emotional scenes rounding down in that garage. Congratulations to Brad Binder. He takes second to KTM. Paul Espargaro does indeed hang on for third spot. Aleix Espargaro takes fourth. Marc Marquez dropped back to fifth. Mir rounded out the top 6. It's Rins. Zarco did get Quattraro on the last lap. We'll just pause for a moment to soak up these incredible scenes inside the Gresini Ducati garage. Tears start flowing, and you can understand why. What an incredible way to start the 2022 World Championship for that young man, Enea Bastianini. What a tribute to his former team boss at Fausto Gresini, the man who gave him his big break in Grand Prix racing as a Moto3 rider back in 2014. He's a Moto2 World Champion. He looks a great prospect to be a MotoGP World Champion in the future. Great scenes down there. Paolo Ciabatti coming to congratulate Nadia Padovani, Gigi Dell'Igna alongside there as well, Davide Tardozzi. These are unforgettable scenes. Wow, such a pleasure, such a privilege. What an honour to be part of this championship on such an emotional night like tonight.
History made on the opening night of the 2022 season. You can see the tears in the open visor in the helmet of Enea Bastianini. The Beast is unleashed in MotoGP. We saw a couple of occasions at Misano last year just what he was capable of. There was a podium in Enea Bastianini, and look at the joy in the Red Bull KTM Factoration. They were in terrible trouble just a month ago in pre-season testing. It looked like we were going to have to be expecting.
Siapa yang sangka hari ini menjadi milik Enea Bastianini, ya kan? Kita tadi cuma nyebut aja Enea Bastianini luar biasa, tapi kita tidak memprediksi bahwa hari ini menjadi kemenangannya dia. Dan ada Binder di posisi ketiga, dan Pol Espargaro harusnya sih jadi Pol Espargaro. Tapi ya itulah ya, tapi ya palingnya dia akhirnya podium lah.
Ya karena kalau mamanya berdasarkan hasil practice 4, Enea Bastianini itu sebenarnya nggak dapat. Pol Espargaro memang yakin, dan Brad Binder pun yakin dengan race pace-nya. Nah sementara Enea Bastianini ini agak sedikit ragu. Hanya saja tadi agak ada kejadian hektik di starting grid di mana beberapa pembalap melakukan pergantian ban.
Iya.
Yang paling mencengangkan,
menit-menit terakhir
iya, dan paling mencengangkan adalah seorang Marc Marquez yang awalnya memilih medium soft, ternyata mengambil soft dan soft depannya itu adalah ban yang udah dipakai. Makanya dia tadi mungkin punya strategi untuk langsung ke depan, ternyata tidak berhasil, dan akhirnya malah keteteran. Dan yang ampuhnya lagi adalah saya akui nih, El Diablo versi dari Valentino Rossi yaitu Enea Bastianini ini sangat ciamik. Ini saya rasa berkat pengaruh dari kru chiefnya yang ex Andrea Dovizioso, Alberto Gribuola, yang dimana bisa mungkin memberikan satu feedback bahwa menjaga tingkat keausan ban tanpa harus keteteran. Nah ini nih.
Kita lihat ini udah aman-aman di posisi ke-8 di balap sama Johan Zarco. Tipis saja di saat-saat terakhir sampai geleng-geleng ini Fabio Quartararo. Aduh, udah cakep tadi 8 ya kan, lumayan ya.
Jadi kemenangan Enea Bastianini ini menjadi sejarah baru, Jeng. Karena saat Qatar pertama kali digelar, itu juaranya adalah Setegi Brno dengan Telefonica Movistar yang juga Gresini Racing. Nah sekarang setelah hampir 17 tahun lamanya, akhirnya Gresini lagi menjadi juaranya, dan sejarah baru juga karena apa? Baru Gresini Racing ini yang menang di kondisi saat balapan siang dan balapan malam.
Wah luar biasa ya. Ngomong-ngomong ini GP
22.
Nah loh, wah Beko bisa dimarahin nih sama Ciabatti.
Betul. Karena sempat diungkapkan bahwa apa yang dikatakan oleh pihak Gresini memang alokasi untuk Enea Bastian ini GP 2022 bersamaan dengan Luca Marini di tim
Yang paling
Sapli.
baru ya.
Kalau Pramac Racing ini udah pasti terbaru. Meskipun mungkin ada tadi yang mengatakan 21, sepertinya ini udah ada peningkatan ke 22 karena dari pihak race ini yang ini memang tidak full langsung 22 tapi ada proses.
Oke. Nah, artinya ya kalau ngomongin Peko gitu ya. Tadi kita lihat Peko memang sepertinya hari ini di Qatar dia nggak dapat sama sekali. Sampai akhirnya tadi dia juga harus membawa Jorge Martin jatuh bersama dia juga. Jadi ya Peko tuh kelihatan banget ya kalau dia udah nggak yakin ada aja kesalahannya gitu.
Salah sendiri itu
Iya benar-benar. Ya, dia di Mugello kemarin kan juga jadinya sama kayak gitu kan waktu.
Cuman Mugello nggak bawa pembalap lain.
Tapi itu efek karena ada Dupasquier meninggal. Kemudian dia bilang bahwa itu mentalnya juga akhirnya
jatuh.
ke-hit juga
Betul,
gitu ya.
betul.
Tapi itulah ya, Peko tuh memang kurang poker face gitu.
Ya,
Keputusan seperti ini dia sangat terbuka gitu apa yang dia rasakan, tapi akhirnya benar-benar berpengaruh sama hasil balapannya dia juga.
Setuju. Jadi saya malah salut sama Celestino Vietti yang tadi menang di Moto tuh bahwa dia mengakui dia menjaga, artinya mereplikasi apa yang paruh musim kedua mulai di paruh pertama. Nah sebenarnya Peko harus melakukan hal itu kalau memang dia pengen serius menjadi kandidat juara dunia.
Karena sebetulnya salah satu kekurangannya Peko tahun lalu itu adalah dia mulai dengan sangat buruk sebetulnya di paruh musim pertama. Paruh musim kedua dia bagus banget, cuman kan udah keburu abis race-nya. Nah jadi harusnya sih dibalik ya John.
Betul nih.
Harusnya udah bagus dari pertama
ini
nih.
Juga sih guru pensiun nggak ada yang sok.
Pilihan bannya, ayo pilihan ban yang bener dong gitu. Brad Binder hari ini juga tampil luar biasa. Dia stay terus, dia konstan dengan pilihan ban medium-medium yang kayaknya memang paling cocok sama KTM itu sih ya.
Iya betul.
Hari ini dia rapi banget John.
Setuju. Ya? Jadi kalau ini memang salah satu kelebihannya adalah KTM tidak begitu menonjol saat tes pramusim. Ini memang sengaja.
Ini juga, jadi mesti cerita nih. Ini prinsipal perempuan
pertama di MotoGP, Nadia Padovani.
Nah, jadi ini memang salah satu ya hebat juga nih ya buat seorang perempuan jadi tim prinsipal.
Iya, karena
luar biasa.
Kasusnya adalah saat Fausto Gresini meninggal akibat COVID, ini sempat down semua tim Gresini ini. Apakah harus lanjut atau gimana? Namun kemudian Nadia Padovani yang merupakan istri mendiang ini malah bersikukuh untuk menjalankan terus dan bahkan
diteruskan gitu
ya dia dengan istilahnya ya udah biar lebih meyakinkan lagi dia maju menjadi tim prinsipal dan mencatatkan sejarah baru di MotoGP sebagai tim prinsipal pertama di MotoGP.
Kita sambil menunggu interview dari Paul Espargaro, penasaran juga sih apa rasanya akhirnya dia masuk podium juga ya. Nah, kita
cuman ya itu tadi nyaris, padahal kalau menang ini bikin sejarah baru. Dia ya tampil di Repsol Honda tim pabrikan yang dia pengenin, akhirnya dia bisa mempersembahkan kemenangan. Tapi sayang.
Paling tidak sekarang udah kelihatan bahwa Paul Espargaro ini udah beda banget lah gitu. Malah beberapa jurnalis sudah menulis bahwa pokoknya kubu Honda sekarang ini berbeda sekali dengan 2021. Kalau kemarin tuh kayaknya bingung atau mesti ngapain
gitu ya. Ketergantungan satu orang.
Bener, karena semuanya market sentris gitu kan. Sampai akhirnya sekarang berubah semuanya, malah justru membuat Paul Espargaro bisa mengeluarkan potensinya gitu. Jadi ya luar biasa bagus ya. Nah ini nih Enea Bastian ini
El Diablo versi Valentino Rossi.
Jadi kenapa John, cerita dong, kenapa kok El Diablo versi Valentino Rossi?
Karena waktu di San Marino dia coba untuk kejar tidak bisa berhasil. Gayanya pun istilahnya dia start bukan di posisi terdepan.
Nah kita dengerin komentar dari Paul Espargaro.
Running for so long, I'm sure he's still delighted to be the podium. He's for Simon in Park Fair, mate.
Paul, the pace of that race was awesome, and you set it all the way to the end. I've got to say, you must be disappointed without the win, but you've got to be happy with your debut on this machine that suits you better.
Yeah, still I need some more knowledge of the bike. You know, it's the first race of this bike, and things were happening at the end of the race I didn't really expect it, and it catch me by surprise. But you know, it was not even in the plan to go ahead and push in the front. Actually, strategy was completely opposite. Stay behind. We had some fuel, as everyone, some fuel problems. So I needed to stay in the lead stream for some laps, but I faced in the first positions at the beginning of the race. I felt good. I started to push. The lap time was coming easy, so I decided to push, but yeah, maybe too much. Then I ran out of fuel. I ran out of tires. Over-excitation in the first race. I felt in the top, but it was a good feeling. We are back. And this was a signal that Honda have two strong riders in front, not just one. And this is first time in many, many years that Honda can say that. So I feel very proud.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Paul.
Thank you.
First
Yeah,
time
that's
in
a
many,
top
many
job.
years. Emang iya sih ya, apalagi buat dia, berasa banget.
Iya.
Kalau Mark Marquez aja, tadi Joni sempat bilang paceklik kemenangan, apalagi aku, katanya Paul. Ya kan, aku lebih paceklik lagi, lama nih nggak menang-menang. Sampai posisinya Paul Espargaro nih, rumor-rumor menyatakan bahwa
Gonjang ganjing.
bisa jadi
Digoyang
sama John Mir,
dan
atau bahkan sama Fabio Quartararo. Jadi memang bahkan Mayo Meregali udah sempet bilang ya, iya sih emang Quartararo ini udah ditawarin kontrak sama pabrikan lain. Dia udah secara terbuka loh, tapi dari pihak Yamaha sendiri bilang bahwa mereka yakin bisa mempertahankan seorang Quartararo. Ya karena memang sebenarnya di tangan Quartararo Yamaha tuh jadi kayak punya karakter sendiri ya nggak sih?
Setuju.
Justru yang tadinya kayaknya emang beda nih Yamaha tuh jinak gitu, tapi di tangan Quartararo jadi super kompetitif gitu kan. Nah kita dengarkan komentar dari Brad Binder. Ini memang agak terlalu gak sering di podium.
Iya, betul.
Jadi kebanyakan ngobrol ya. Kita dengarkan komentar dari Brad Binder berikut ini.
Solid part for me, Brad Binder.
Well, Brad, after everything KTM been through with you in the last 12 months, that ride was truly awesome. Tell us how you did that.
Today was a great day. All weekend has been really, really good. To start off in FP1 and be first was a bit of a shock. So then I knew we were at a really good level. We had some issues over the weekend, but honestly, I had so much confidence and I felt so good with the bike from the beginning to the end. So I just need to say a massive thank you to KTM. They pulled this one out the bag and, we made such a huge step from where we finished last year. For us to be on the podium in Qatar is insane. Honestly, last year, was the hardest race of the year. So I'm really, really, really happy with the way things went. And for future, I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully a few more podiums.
Big congratulations, Brad.
Thank you very much.
A few more podiums, I don't think that's out of the question at all.
Aduh, Brad Binder. Ini emang gemas ya, tapi itulah ya namanya MotoGP. Nah ini Brad Binder start di row ketiga loh.
Startnya cukup mulus, Mbak.
Startnya cakep banget sih. Iya, cakep. Nah, jadi memang kalau posisi start itu kalau bisa dapat row 1-2 itu ideal banget. Tapi kalau kayak Brad Binder tadi, kalau starter super banget. Nah ini juara hari ini Enea Bastian ini.
Lisa Grosini, the Cati team, huge congratulations to our new winner, Enea Bastianini with Simon.
Anaya, that was unbelievable. I don't think anyone in the paddock is going to forget witnessing that. Tell us how you felt in the race.
My feel now it's incredible because I have pushed from the start, but the most important was to save the tire for the end, the end of the race. And when I see Paul to push a lot, I have overtaken Binder during the race. And at the end, Paul was really close to me. I have understand. Okay, now I can try to win the race, and I overtake Paul in the first corner after he is go out, and nothing is difficult for me to speaking now. I want to dedicate this victory to Fausto because he have pushed a lot from the sky, and it's fantastic for all the team. I think we have cried all the guys, and nothing. I'm very happy also for my family at home. I want to say one thanks to everybody for this.
Congratulations,
Thank you. Fantastic job by
Kayaknya
Enea
sulit
Bastianini.
memproses banget ya nggak sih? Buat seorang Enea Bastian ini, ya iyalah, ini juga nggak nyangka.
Iya. Dan tidak hanya itu, karena ini memang istilahnya ada rasa kekeluargaan kepergian Maestro Grace ini. Jadi dia tadi bilang Sky, makanya dia tidak membuka kacamata kan.
Udah menangis tuh kayaknya ya. Tapi iya sih gitu, ini Grace ini tuh salah satu tim yang lekat sekali rasa kekeluargaan.
Betul,
ya kan?
betul.
Ya Ducati aja udah begitu, apalagi ini Grace ini lebih lagi
Lebih
gitu.
lagi, dan kalau kita ingat bahwa Grace ini sempat awalnya kan dekat dengan Honda dan bahkan nyaris menjadi juara dunia 2005 itu bersama Honda. Kemudian Honda mereduksi istilahnya partisipasi motornya sampai Grace itu kebingungan gimana nih, sampai sempat ikut CRT juga, kemudian berkolaborasi dengan Aprilia dari 2015 sampai terakhir kemarin 2021, dan di 2022 ini Grace ini kembali memutuskan untuk menjadi tim independen, dan salutnya lagi dia sudah menandatangani kontrak, ikatan kontraknya tuh MOU-nya sampai 2026. Artinya Grace ini tetap akan ada sampai 2026
ya. Nah ini artinya ini evaluasi yang sangat sedikit pahit ya buat sesi pembuka buat pabrikan Ducati, karena dua-dua ridernya tidak ada yang finish hari ini bahkan ya kan. Miller harus retire awal karena ada isu elektronik. Terus ya udahlah, Pecco juga seperti itu membawa Martin bersama dia juga. Nah Suzuki ini juga kita masih tunggu ya di seri selanjutnya. Ini yang ditunggu-tunggu banget GP Mania, apalagi kalau bukan di Mandalika. Nah, jadi GP Mania, jangan lupa aku mau ngomongin dulu juga nih siapa pemenang quiz QR code berikut ini. Mudah-mudahan Anda yang menjadi pemenangnya hari ini. Ini adalah yang paling kita tunggu-tunggu, tanggal 20 Maret, Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia di sirkuit Pertamina Mandalika. Joni, kalau misalnya Joni sempat lihat dong kemarin pramusimnya gimana, ada sedikit intipan nggak? Kita berdua sih akan ke sana loh, ngomong-ngomong gimana, kita akan siaran langsung dari sana insya Allah. Kita berdua diberikan kesehatan, semua kru juga, jadi semuanya lancar. Joni kalau lihat kemarin dari pramusim, tesnya kira-kira Joni membaca ini tuh sirkuit yang cocok buat pabrikan mana?
Ya lagi-lagi sebenarnya ini akan menjadi bukti buat Honda, karena kemarin Honda menjadi waktu tercepat lewat Paul Espargaro. Artinya nih Paul Espargaro udah dapat settingan untuk di Mandalika. Nah mungkin yang masih akan menjadi ini adalah justru buat Yamaha, karena Yamaha lagi-lagi agak sedikit kurang begitu meyakinkan. Dan kemarin pun ya Paul Espargaro, Quartararo dan Morbidelli itu mengungkapkan bahwa kondisinya memang ya kemarin itu tidak bisa ideal gara-gara ada kondisi aspalnya.
Nah, aku mau tanya nih sebetulnya di sirkuit Pertamina Mandalika ini, aku kan belum pernah ke sana nih, tapi Joni udah pernah. Tikungan 6 itu emang ada apa sih? Soalnya, kenapa aku nanya tikungan 6? Konon katanya ini menurut Luca Marini, tikungan 6 di sirkuit Pertamina Mandalika ini adalah tikungan terbaik yang pernah dia lewati, katanya. Emang ada apa, Jon?
Itu kayak es kecil sebenarnya, kalau disentuh itu. Jadi benar-benar bisa dibahas dengan kecepatan tinggi tanpa harus menurunkan atau melepas gas. Ini yang menjadi sensasinya, dan bahkan seorang
Luca Marini suka banget katanya di tikungan 6 itu.
Makanya dia berhasil mencetak waktu tercepat di hari kedua. Dan Marini udah pengen banget langsung bisa balapan di Mandalika.
Pantesan. Nah, ini kan mereka bukan orang Asia kan?
Betul.
Cuma Nakagami aja orang Asia, jadi itu pun Jepang kan? Dengan kondisi panas yang seperti itu, nanti nih tanggal 20 Maret di sirkuit Pertamina Mandalika, kira-kira akan seperti apa tantangan buat rider-rider ini setelah dari Qatar? Nggak lama loh waktunya, mereka akan langsung ke Mandalika, gimana aja?
Cuman dengan kemarin dia sempat ikut tes pramusim, setidaknya mereka udah ada gambaran, ya paling tidak
udah siap bak es.
Itu kayak Alex Rins pakai
bak sampah.
Pakai bak sampah. ketimbang pakaian.
Kalau Alex Espargaro masih bawa ini, masih bawa yang pakai karet.
Betul.
Ya, masih bagus ya.
Nah ini enggak, dan ntar mungkin akan ada yang akan jual atau apa yang di Mandalika. Tapi mereka yakin akan masalah hidrasi ini sudah dipikirkan karena memang panas banget, dan mereka akan berusaha ya menjaga setidaknya makan, karena kemarin Joan Mir sempat
keracunan makanan.
Betul.
Nah ini adalah podiumnya GP Mania hari ini, memang hari yang sangat tidak bisa diprediksi. Ini adalah apa ya, aku bisa bilang kira-kira tahun 2022 ya seperti ini, semua serba tidak terduga, betul. Nah kita akan ketemu lagi tentunya di tanggal 20 Maret. Betul. Dan jangan lupa untuk menyaksikan semua informasi seputar MotoGP di Top Speed setiap hari Minggu pukul 13 waktu Indonesia Barat. Kita akan ketemu tanggal 20 Maret di Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia di sirkuit Pertamina Mandalika. Atas rekan-rekan kami ucapkan terima kasih banyak. Jadi Lona Mulia pamit, Lucy Reno juga pamit. Kita ketemu lagi tanggal 20 Maret. Selamat malam.
What incredible and emotional scenes here on the podium at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. What a way to...
Berani melawan keterbatasan demi memberitakan kebenaran. Terus berjalan menghadapi perubahan, berinovasi menjawab tantangan zaman. Menjadi tempat informasi terpercaya yang cepat, berimbang, dan akurat. Tak sekadar memberi wawasan, namun juga membuka pikiran. Orang cerdas membaca tuntas hanya di detik.com.
Ini waktunya. Nyalakan semangat. Balap sebuah tantangan. Berani melesat. Tanpa batas. Bersama Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. MotoGP Mandalika 2022. Pertamina, energi untuk berani melesat. Energizing you.
Formulated in Italy. Pertamax Turbo. Pertamax Turbo. Ignition boost formula with RON 98. Perfecting top speed. Perfecting acceleration. Perfecting drivability. Pertamax Turbo. Perfection in performance.
back. Excellent first lap. Excellent start for Brad Binder. We've always said he's a Sunday man. He can qualify well. You know he's going to be in the game. You know he's going to be fighting in that top 6. Well, it's better so far. The KTM man up inside that top 3. What a first lap was what he was for Joan Mir. He's in a big move of the 8th to 4th spot.
Absolutely. He's ahead of Enea Bastianini, who is the leading Ducati on the road. The Ducatis collectively all had 4 starts. Bastianini's the first of them in 5th. Jack Miller's dropped down 5 places to 9th. Bagnaya's down behind again, although in 14th. And Joan Zarco, he's dropped 6 places to 19th. The Ducatis just did not get away.
That's been a shocking start to 2021 for the pre-season favourite, Pecco Bagnaia. He finished last season so strongly. Only down in 14th place at the end of the first lap after a wretched start. He's got a lot of ground to recover here. Then the man in the top 3, the only man with the medium rear tyre on was Brad Binder now. That should pay dividends, you'd think, in the second half of the race. How much will Polispargo, Marc Marquez chew up and burn up that soft rear tyre while they try to run this pace, or will they slow it down, will they back off, try and bunch up the group and then attack each and ride the last 6 or 7 laps? That's what's really key. That's what Michelin have told us. That's what so many people told us in the paddock so far this weekend. It's going to be all about the last 6 or 7 laps and who's going to serve the tyres the best.
Polispargo looking good at the front of this race. Joan Mir, though, is a key contender here, looking to fight his way through. He's already up to 4th. Pecco Bagnaia trying to make quick progress. That's it up the inside of Capitan Valley, so he's already back up to 12th. As we come onto the main straight, just how strong is that Suzuki down the main straight? Joan Mir is able to hold the slipstream, and he's able to hold Enea Bastianini behind him, although Bastianini is the fastest rider on track.
The Bagnaia and Miller need a slow pace at the front here to get themselves back into this lead group. As Willis just mentioned, Bastianini at 1:54.953. That's the best lap of the Grand Prix we've seen so far. Fair play to the Italian. It's the only 1:54 we've seen of the Grand Prix so far. So he's quickly into his groove, and it started from the front row for the very first time.
Fabio Quartararo in 8th position at the moment. He's just at the back of his leading group, 2 seconds off the lead. I think he would have set up for this for the first 2 laps of the race to make his way through the pack. He's got all the Ducatis behind him. He's got Alex Rins just closing in. Rins is one of those who are expected to make progress through this race, as Mir has a
Pinotti, Pramac Racing boss, looks pretty anxious, looks pretty tense, and with good reason. He's got his man Jorge Martin on pole position for the 5th time in MotoGP. He comes to the head of the grid as the seconds tick down then towards one of the most unpredictable and one of the most eagerly anticipated World Championship campaigns we can remember. We've been racing in the Premier Class since 1949. The green flag about to be waved at the back. Can Marc Marquez make it a 100th Premier Class podium here tonight in Qatar? We're all set to go in 2022. It's lights out and let's go for MotoGP in 2022 in Qatar. What a bad start for the poleman Jorge Martin. Big moment. The 2 reps Honda's going to wait brilliantly. Marc Marquez gets the whole shot. Polispargo slots into 2nd. The initial launch good for Martin. Then he got it bold. Big moment. There's the 2 reps for Honda's in lead.
Brad Binder is up into 3rd place. He's trying to go right on the outside of Marc Marquez. The 2 factory Ducatis had terrible starts. Fabio Quartararo immediately ahead of both of the factory Ducatis. He's trying to go to the inside of Joan Mir. Quartararo looks like he's gained at least 4 places, and he's got both factory Ducatis and the poleman behind him.
Polispargo leading on the Repsol Honda. We would never have said that at any time last year, would we? Pecco Bagnaia had a shocking start from the back of the 3rd row. 9 back to 15th place. As Lewis said, the 2 factory Ducatis just completely missed the start. Already getting aggressive, getting busy. As 2020 champ Joan Mir. We know how good he is at coming to the pack. We know how good he is as well at making overtakes and keeping his tyres in good order. Do not discount Joan Mir. Was that Martin trying to recover the lost ground he made off the start? It was a poor start from Martin.
He was trying to get the inside of Aleix Espargaro. He lost the position back to him again, though. Has to go to the inside. But dream ticket for the Repsol Honda team. Espargaro leading as Fabio Quartararo makes progress. This is where he has to make his progress in this infield section, where the straight line speed isn't going to hamper him. Up the inside of Jorge Martin. Just the first lap that Quartararo needed, up to P7 from 11th on the grid.
Yeah, already getting wheel spin on that medium Michelin rear tyre through that tyre torturing turn 11 there. Fabio Quartararo just about keeping Jorge Martin at bay, although with the slipstream and the power of the Ducati down the start-finish straight, he might be easily picked off. The Yamaha's been about anything between 10 and 12 pace slower. Brilliant rival, world champion, ex-world champion Joan Mir just sticks his leg out there, making an apology quickly to Enea Bastianini. He got the Italian at turn 15. Martin doesn't need the slipstream or top speed of the Ducati to pick off Quartararo. He's got underneath the Yamaha man in the final corner at turn 16.
Who would have expected this then? At the end of the first lap, it's a Repsol Honda 1-2 into Spargo.